In this video, we're gonna be talking about the attachment and detachment. And detachment is just one of those things that comes up often in the spiritual teachings and whatnot. And but there's also the opposite of that, which is attachment. So what does that actually mean? Let's just try to break it down. The word first, attachment. What does that mean? Attach, attach to something, meant. Attach to the mind, detach from the mind. So whatever you're attaching to is your mind. Just like the government, it's the governing of your mind. Ment means mind. So detachment is mostly presented as as a way out of your whatever matrix. And if you break that down, you would detach from your mind. So in a way, if you think about how the everything is created through your mind, then you are kind of detaching from that whatever the mind is creating for you. So I guess that kind of helps you understand the meaning of attachment and detachment. And so let's uh, let's start with, let's draw a simple simple little car. And we're gonna be using the car as a demonstrating tool to demonstrate what the how we attach or detach to things, objects, whatever in this life. And then we're gonna do more as we're figuring out how the same thing, like what the car presents here, is also something that is happening within you. So like we've been saying, the nothing outside, or let's say everything on the outside, is just the within in a disguise. But yeah, let's start with a car. And let's put some chunky tires on it. And so this is just like a simple way of explaining the concept of attachment and detachment on the outside level. So the car. So let's say that car is something that you have wanted. Like this is your dream car. You have dreamt about this, especially this beautiful specimen of a vehicle. So this is something you have dreamed dreamed on for quite a while. And and you have kind of attached to the idea already, even before you were able to buy the car. And so, like, just thinking about getting this car has already you attached to it. Now this is where your attention goes to, even before you actually buy the car. And your attention goes to the vehicle, and this is where, when your attention goes to somewhere, that's where your energy goes to. So now your focus is on the car, and you are attached to this idea, this concept. And let's say that you invest a lot of energy into actually getting the car. You work in order to get some money and all that stuff. So those things have to happen. Well, maybe somebody's gonna find the money somewhere. I don't know. But it doesn't really change the whole concept. But this is the attention. This is where your attention is. And once there is attention, you are attached to this. And so let's say that you're able to buy this now. And this makes you very, very happy. Let's put beginning. In the beginning, it makes you very happy. You have achieved something that you have been attached to for a while. So that achievement, that sense of achievement, makes you happy for getting the car. And now you're able to go drive around, enjoy that whatever you have been working so hard for. And that all makes you very happy and makes you feel good. And there's nothing wrong with feeling good or happy. Like, it is just the experience that you're getting. And there's so much nice things about, like, getting whatever this. Let's just keep using the car as the example. So now you're able to take your friends out with your new car. You get to do a road trip, share that with your good friends or loved one or whatever. And that still all is making you happy, and you get to share that. So the car, okay, so the car itself, like just whatever object, whatever thing, whatever situation, the situation is always neutral. So the car is not a good thing or a bad thing. It is just a thing that your experience gives it the feeling of it's a good thing to own a car. You get to commute to work, you get to do all these things, you get to put stuff in it, like whatever. It's the car is neutral. It is your experience that gives it the polarity. And usually in the beginning, you're in that kind of like that honeymoon phase where the car just feels like it's the best thing ever. And but after a while, let's say a year has moved past, and now the warranty has run out, and you start to have like some mechanical problems with the car. So now you have to take it to the service, and now the happiness starts to wear off, and that happiness, the car is still neutral, and that situation of having to take that car to the service is still, that is also neutral, but that might have like a negative feeling to it, because you have invested all your money in the car, and now you don't actually have the funds to have the car serviced. So, and uh, you didn't think about that like beforehand, like there would be these hidden costs and maintenance bills and or whatnot, and you're still very much attached to this vehicle, this car. But now the attachment is not that happy anymore. It's beginning to feel more like uh, let's use word burden. So instead of seeing what you saw before, like it was a vessel that you used to go on those road trips, share that with friends, and move your get things from the shop easily and commute to work and whatnot. So now that it's not bringing you the joy like it was before, it has turned into more of a burden. The car is still a car. It is a neutral thing. It is your attachment to the car, your attention to the car. It's a change in perspective now. Now you don't see the car as a something that you can enjoy that much, at least, and it's more of something that is become a burden. It's using your energy, and it's usually easier to see where our energy is going. Like in those happy moments, when that energy is still going somewhere, it's going into the same thing, but because it is a happy energy. Energy is always neutral as well. It is your experience that gives it the polarity as well. So it's the same thing as within. So without energy, energy by itself is always neutral. Energy doesn't, there's no bad energy, there's no good energy. It is your attention to that energy, your experience that gives it the polarity. So, okay, so going back to the car, now it's starting to feel like it's a burden. And so how like, okay, so what what I'm trying to explain here is the kind of the in the attachment and the detachment, the polarities are there. So the object, the thing, the situation, whatever, it's always neutral. It's your perspective that gives it the happy or the sad, suffering, whatever. So now that happy experience of owning the car has turned into a more of a burden. So 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 could you detach yourself from the situation of seeing this as a burden? Like, what would be the way out? Would it be selling the car, getting rid of the car, so the the maintenance bills wouldn't be coming in anymore, so you would be debt free, whatever. So would this be the way out of the burden? Okay, let's think about it. So if you're the owner of the vehicle, and you're not happy with it anymore, that same thing that brought you so much joy and happiness has now turned into a burden, and you want to get rid of that. So detachment in a vehicle, or in that sense, would be selling it. So even in that selling aspect, you are still very much attached to the car, because before the car is gone and you have the money from the car, you're still attached to that. So, but in all scenarios, the car always stays neutral. The car is just a car. It's there to it's just a tool for you to do whatever you want with it. So uh yeah, I'm getting to the detachment aspect of the the whole ownership of something, because every situation you have the full ownership of, and all things, whatever, you have the ownership of that moment. So okay, let's the car thing. If you and this all goes back to the completeness of everything. Like, if you only buy the car, and you're only willing to accept the happy, the joy, the good things, like the good things would be on this side, like road trips, like whatever, all the good stuff would be on this side, and here would be the repairs, costs, gas, like all the expenses, all the negative stuff would be on this side. So if you like you attach to the vehicle, you buy the car, and you only are willing to accept the good, and that experience changes once there starts to be repairs, or the gas prices goes up, or the cost of maintenance, or insurance or whatnot. If you only want to have this experience but not this, then you can see that in the ownership there will be a conflict, like, and that is just the complete package of, if you want to buy a car, you have to accept both sides, because the car is still neutral, but all this comes with owning a car, just as this, but this as well. And yeah, so if you only attach to the good stuff, and then you kind of try to detach from the bad, so-called bad stuff, there is going to be that friction of both sides, like you're not integrating the two sides. And so that ownership, that attachment detachment, once you see that, like, like okay, let's say that here it feels like you are the one owning the car. When there's the good things happening, it's serving the purpose of commuting to work, doing the road trips, enjoying the car in that sense. And on this side, where the negative stuff is, that is now, this is now the car owning you. This is where the car starts to steal your energy because you're attached to this side now. So in the good aspect of things, you seem to be owning the car. And in the bad things, when the so-called bad things happen, now the car starts to own you. Like, and even in let's say whatever, we can still use the car as the example. Like the more expensive car you have, the bigger the repair cost is gonna be, the more it's gonna use gas, whatever. Like, and the more you kind of invest into that, the more it usually starts to own you. And this is where we get to the attachment and detachment. So the car, during all this, it stays neutral. It is just a car. The car is not bad. Like, well, I guess the environmentalist people would see, but that is just because they are attached to that, and that is their perspective on cars. Like, they see cars as bad things, and people who like to do road trips, or they need the car to commute to work or whatever, they see the car as a good thing. But because the car itself is neutral, what are you actually attaching to? Like, is it the actual car, or is it more of the feelings that you get from owning the car? Like, it is kind of multi-layered structure. If you start breaking it down, there is the car, there is the emotions, the feelings you get out of owning the car. So if you, yeah, like I said, here the car starts owning you. So, but if you're willing to integrate that this is the complete experience, is both the good and the bad, and you start to stay neutral, you get to still enjoy all this. There's nothing wrong with enjoying life, enjoying whatever the thing is. And but if you're not willing to accept that it all comes with a cost, or you have to maintain it, then you're kind of fighting against this. Then you are attached to the whole situation. But if you are detached, you are integrated. You have integrated the whole thing. Then you can be detached. And that's where you kind of you stand in a neutral ground, but from that neutrality, like you get to enjoy this, but you don't see this as something bad anymore. You see it just something that supports this. But if you don't see that as completing the experience, then you fight against this, and then there's gonna be that chaos that we've been talking about in the previous videos. So that's just uh, way of explaining the attachment detachment on whatever, like when there's a thing. Let's say that a uh, like, well, this is pretty poor, like this is like the 80s TV, but let's say that TV is seen as something negative. Like it's only there to control your mind. It's sending these signals that influence your mind. So that would be on the bad side. Okay? So, but the TV is neutral. And let's say on this side you get to watch a funny movie with a loved one. So you can use the same thing for something very nice or make it feel very negative. And it can be both at the same time as well. That's the paradoxical thing. But the TV is just like the car, it is neutral. I know there's all kinds of things, but it is still you're above every single signal that comes out of your TV once you understand how everything works. So just seeing something as very negative, like it's just for brainwashing you. Well, if you get to just sit on a couch with your loved one and watch a funny movie, I guess that kind of goes above the whole idea of brainwashing anybody. Because that, well, at least to me, if you're into brainwashing, enjoy that. That's fine. It doesn't matter to me at all. So okay, so let's go and let's do the same thing on the mind level. And like we started the video with the ment, which means mind. So what the to me, like what the spirituality is trying to say, that detach from everything. You need to detach from this life in order to get to whatever they're trying to sell you. Your life is right now. And the funny thing about detachment, like you once you start detaching from something, like let's say that you want to start detaching from all things in life, like that's what the guidebooks have told you to do. You need to get rid of all the material things in life. Okay, so you throw away all your extra furniture, clothes, cars, whatever, all the material things. You attach yourself from going traveling. You detach yourself from seeing certain friends because they don't support your way of spirituality or your way of life through spirituality. So you detach yourself from situations now. And just like with the monks on the Himalayan mountains that seem to be detaching from everything, Like they just sit still all day every day. They basically they detach from eating through fasting, and we're gonna do fasting in one of these videos, and I'm not downplaying the meaning of fasting, but once you detach from everything, like like those monks, by detaching, like they are trying to detach from the identity of your human self. And once you are detaching from everything, you are actually attaching to that detachment. Does that make even sense? Like any sense? But the more you detach, the more you attach to the detachment. And that is the paradoxical thing. And so by resisting, you are assisting that what you are resisting of. That's the universal law that always happens. The more you detach, the more you attach. That that is the thing. So just think about the monks. They are so attached to the detachment. That is their identity now. And they are so attached to sitting in silence, in fasting, in whatever they're doing. They are attached to the detachment. So the neutrality is kind of in the middle, and that kind of allows you to enjoy the full spectrum of life. But just remember, you are in the middle, and you still get to enjoy the nice things and the so-called bad things. And once you kind of integrate those, you always are in the middle. You don't have to identify as just happy. Like that is just detaching yourself from being sad. Sadness is part of human experience. Sadness is a beautiful part of human experience. So the kind of the self itself, the self by itself is neutral. It is your experience, and where you give your attention to, that's where your energy flows. Sorry. So and just like I'm not saying that you shouldn't try to be happy. No, no, no. Happiness is a beautiful thing. But if you come from the center, and like I said, we're gonna do fasting is gonna be one of the bigger ones that we do. But the heart video that we're gonna do is probably gonna be the biggest of them all. And like the saying that in the heart of the city, it's usually in the center of the city. They use the heart as the analogy for the center. So in the neutral, you kind of come from the heart, and from your heart you are also projecting your life as it comes or as it unfolds. And that's where your this neutral place is where you are always tapped into the infinite flow. But here, once you start going left or right, up or down, that's where your attachment and detachment goes into. And that's just part of the experience. Like even this, I'm not saying there's anything bad about being attached to whatever or trying to detach. That is just your experience. But I'm just trying to explain that what it actually means. And the whole funny thing about just focusing on the detachment is just denying half of your life, your human experience, half of your human experience by trying to detach. You're avoiding life when you start detaching. And just like attaching, you're so attached to the car, like that's where all your money, your energy, your attention, everything goes into just that car. But there's so much more in this life than just that car. So if you are so attached to this, then it's gonna do the same thing as the detachment. You're missing out. Well, you're nobody's missing out anything, but just to give you the idea of if you just attach to something, one thing, then everything else you are attaching from. And it's it's just like the basic thing, like we cannot be attaching and detaching to everything all at once. We always have like a focus that we are detaching from or we are attaching, both consciously and subconsciously. So okay, going back to the mind, now we know that the uh, the the so-called what that would mean on the outside. So let's focus on how it would look on the inside as within. And so the mind is also something that we're told to detach from, quiet the mind, uh, don't listen to your mind. The mind is there to distract you. The mind this, the mind that, the mind is it doesn't get very much good publicity, does it? But the mind, in a way, just like the car, it is neutral. Like the mind is always in the center there, in that neutral place. And once you start going one way or another with your attention, like I need to get a new marker and start to learn how to write. Okay, so let's say the mind is always in the center, just as your heart is. It's always in the center. And once we do the heart thing, I will explain how you project everything through your heart. That is the vortex from the infinite to this reality. It is the most magical thing. So, but we're gonna have to do a complete video on just the heart alone. And we're gonna do one on mind as well. But just to give you the idea of, okay, so let's put good and bad. And let's put okay, let's say that there is a situation, whatever that situation, let's say that uh, something very bad happens. Let's say the situation is from my own experience. Let's say that you get very bad news about your health. So you have been having some symptoms, and you go to the doctors, and then the results come back as something very bad, your health wise. So there, your mind has a reaction. Your mind has a reaction to those news. The mind is there, like, just, it's not, well, it's kind of going on continuously, but the mind doesn't, like, once something new is presented to the mind, it always has a reaction. So from those reactions, there is from reactions there are, this is where it starts to become fun, actually. So your mind reacts to the situation. So I should have structured this in a different way, but the mind reacts to the situation. And no, sorry, first that way. Let's draw the arrow that way. So first there is a situation in which your mind reacts. So, but it's just not your mind. From that same situation, that actually goes both ways, because the situation comes through the heart, but it's reflecting. I'll explain this better when I do the heart thing. But let's just say that this is a one-way deal. The mind works one way, and the same situation comes from the heart and goes back to the heart, and then there's the gut feeling. So from heart you get the gut feeling. That is the reaction of your, like, okay, so let's try to break this down so we can all understand it. So the situation enters the mind. The mind has the reaction. So from that, there's going to be good or bad, so-called good or bad reaction, right? And that's on the mind level. That's why they are on the same level. Good and bad, they're on the same level at all times. And like I said, the mind is just there in a neutral place in the middle. And now your attention starts to give that situation that polarity. So, okay, so at the same time, or actually even before the mind has the reaction, there's already been your heart and the gut feeling. And this, because it's a, let's break this down. We go from feeling to emotion. So, and this also happens with this as well. the mind doesn't have the feeling, but it follows the emotion, if that makes any sense. So uh, the okay, let's do the mind thing first. So now you have been presented by something. The news you have been presented by your doctor have been bad. The reaction through the mind has been bad. Okay, now your attention goes to bad. Your experience is bad. So this is like the initial reaction. So, and from the heart, the gut feeling, you get a feeling of something. Well, you all know the gut wrenching feeling that when something very bad is presented to you, you get oh, and then there's gonna be emotion. So feeling is your soul talking to you. Feeling is always your soul. Feelings are your soul's language. And that's when we interact with other people and we let's say that we just stare at each other. First we talk. That's on the mind level. And once we stop speaking, we go to the energetic exchange, or that's the only thing that's going to be left. So that's when our soul starts to speak, and that's when we have feelings. And so from that we get to the emotion. Emotion is energy in motion, where your energy, your attention starts to go. So now from this scenario, your emotions go to bad. Sad, suffering, all that good stuff. So this is kind of the situational experience. You have been presented with something bad, and now you are attached to the bad in that, whatever the situation is, you are very much detached to the bad. And let's say that the okay, so if you just start to focus on, and this is where the focus goes to, and this comes from the mind. Now your mind is focusing on the bad. So what's happening here is you are attached to the bad emotion right now. Your reaction is in the so-called bad. The good is still here. So why this same thing, like the news are still news. It's just like the it's life. So now you're facing the repairs with those bad news. So if you are okay, so if you only focus on the bad, you are missing the good. So the mind is still in the center, so is the heart. And it's your attention, your focus that is attaching to the bad. The good is still here, but why would you be focusing just on the bad? It is the initial reaction through feelings, emotions, and then you land on the bad things. And then we can get to the how we've been conditioned throughout our lives on how you should react to something like bad news. And there's nothing, it's just an experience. And I'm not saying just an experience, it is the experience. And it is the most amazing thing that we get to do before death. But it is the experience. So what I'm trying to explain with the attachment and detachment on this level, how the so-called bad news, like this is where the so-called archonic whatever energies start to steal your life force, because that's where you are attached to that message of the bad news, and your emotions are steering you into the bad. And this is where the so-called archonic energy start. It is just your own nervous system eating you, eating your energy in a way. So let's try to give you an example on how we can kind of balance this out, so you kind of detach from the attachment, and yeah, so you go back to the neutrality. So okay, let's say that you are presented with the bad news. Okay, so the initial reaction comes from the soul, as does from the mind. Mind's reaction is like in an instance, but the mind reacts through the subconscious. It's kind of that operating system that is there, that's been updated throughout your life. So it reacts to your history. It doesn't react to what is now. It reacts to past experiences, something that you have learned before. And I wouldn't say that is a bad thing. There's a fundamental reason why those things have happened, and it all works in a beautiful way once you see the full picture. But so okay, so the bad news, the situation is the bad news, so-called bad news. Now your mind hears the news, so does your heart. Those news comes from the heart. There, we'll talk about how that actually works, but everything comes through the heart. That is the portal between your experience and the infinite. This is the key to everything. The heart. This is the beauty. But yeah, let's save that for later. I always get excited about talking about the heart. But so okay, so the bad news. Sorry about me going back and forth like a Quentin Tarantino. But okay, so yeah, the bad news. The initial reaction is bad. But let's say that whatever the bad news was, that kind of brings you down emotionally. So now if you think about the scale of the soul, you go from here to here. Your vibration goes from that high to low. This is the infinite. This is your material physical existence on that, like the cross thing that we did when we were explaining the scale of the soul. So the bad experience brings you right down. You're still having the experience. You are the infinite having the experience. So what is stopping you going back from this to here? what is the like why that bad situation has you attached to this experience now and preventing you from going back to the higher vibrational state of being. I feel like this is a nice place to be as well. I There's so much to learn. There's so much to be learned from this, or this is the same experience, but the experience here can teach you just as much as this experience here. So, but you don't have to be living in that bad situation. And like I've said before, there is no good or bad, but it is just the point of view. So, so what is preventing you from going after hearing those bad news? What is preventing you from going? Is it the physical pain? Is it just the feeling, the emotions that are preventing you from going back to that feeling of actually something good again? Like, is there like a gate here that you need to have a password to in order to get back to that? No, there is nothing. There is nothing preventing you from going from here to here whenever, even in whatever the situation is. And the opposite of that actually would be, let's say that you do this, like the situation happens, then the mind reacts, your heart reacts, and you get the feeling, and then you start to you kind of want to detach from the bad. Like, that's also something that is like, just think positive and things will be good. Okay? There is some truth in that as well. I'm not saying that that's a bad thing or that it's not a thing at all. But it is just the same thing. If you just focus on the good, but let's say that there is a health situation and you are denying that, like I'm denying that I'm having these health issues. If you are denying those health issues, that is actually what you are attaching to on the subconscious level. Once you are denying something, that is where your attention is going. So I'm just gonna focus on the good things and deny or avoid the bad things. I'm avoiding the bad situation. I'm healing myself through positivity, and that is a real thing. But if you on a subconscious and conscious level, you deny this, you deny your health issue, then that is actually where your energy is flowing subconsciously. But once you go back to the center and you kind of accept that it is just a situation, you don't identify it with bad or good. It's just like, it is just part of integrating the situation. And now you kind of see that, okay, those bad news were presented to my mind and the heart, and my reaction was first bad. Okay, so in that bad experience, you kind of know, okay, now my health situation is actually letting me know where the attention is actually needed. The attention is not in the bad or in the good. Something has, like, I would say that all the health issues always comes from within. So that attention is now needed. That focus is now needed somewhere within. And it's not up to me to try to find what that might be for you. That is for you to sit with that and see where that attention is needed. And then you kind of meet that whatever with the good without denying the bad. Like there is, it is just kind of like, like going back, like meeting that whatever the situation is, you meet that without any judgment, and you see that okay, there was that reason that had to happen. So the bad, actually, that's a good thing, that kind of steers you back to going within. Like whenever things are good, there's no reason to go back within, because that beautiful goodness comes from within. But badness steers you back within to see where that focus, that attention is needed. So I guess attachment, detachment. Spirituality tries to sell the idea of detachment from the bad experiences. Once you start detaching from something, you are attaching yourself to the detachment. So just sit with it, find that something, that experience, that situation is trying to tell you through your reaction. The gut feeling is, that is amazing. That is just, that's like 100% right. Your mind can have all these other scenarios, your gut feeling, your intuition, which is gonna be another video, of course, and learning how we all have the intuition, and how you can kind of identify that and start using that more. But I guess that's all I wanted to say at this time. So, but attachment, detachment, there's always the neutral in the middle. Attachment, detachment, it's just as within, so without. The same thing just keeps repeating it in the infinite. It's an never ending whatever thing that just happens in everything. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for watching.